It's been a very productive week with so many interesting issues making headlines. This is where you get to hear the take of editors from our newsrooms. It's on Editors Forum. So the issues that caught our cameras were many, particularly aggrieved customers of Menzgold there in what started as a peaceful protest to demand payment of their monies going bad and causing the arrest of 7 of them in the Ashanti region who were later granted bail. Now, the big one. Nana Appiah Mensah, owner of Menzgold, Ghana's most wanted, a warrant by the Accra High Court to arrest him and 2 others. Rose Tete, believed to be his wife, and Benedicta Appiah, said to be his sister. Interpol has activated a search in 194 countries with special interest in Nigeria and South Africa. His bank account has since been frozen. Will he ever be found?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that you'll be able to do that, especially when you get the Interpol involved. So within the whole world, there's nowhere that they can run to.
So the issue has shaped up with very many news angles, the focus of our conversation this evening. By now, I'm sure you are aware that financial experts have warned government not to make any attempt to compensate the Menzgold investors. I'm sure you've also heard about the warning from psychologists, security experts that the issue, if not handled properly, can have dark psychological and security consequences on the investors. Some lawyers also feel the most important of the arrest must be the retrieval of customers' money. But will that happen? Because risk analysts say customers may just be chasing the wind. In all of these, government is sticking to its position that it does not owe the Menzgold customers any compensation. Amazingly, an Accra High Court has thrown out a suit filed by the troubled company against the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission, asking them to go back to mandatory arbitration. So where is Nana Appiah Mensah?
He has traveled outside the shores of Ghana, and it is working to make sure that he gets money to come and pay our customers.
We'll be interrogating that, plus fallouts from the creation of the Ghana Amalgamated Trust and the arrangement of private pension funds to inject 2 billion cedis into it. And we'll also delve into predictions by the minority that electricity tariffs will increase by 60% as ECG's debt inches towards 2 billion Ghana cedis, and also dig deep into a recent research that reveals Akufo-Addo will beat Mahama again if elections were held today, though the elections might head for a runoff. We're live on digital address GA09925339, on Facebook.com/JoyNews on TV, on Twitter at JoyNews on TV, and on YouTube and across the world on myjoyonline.com. You can also join the conversation via 0266047417 on WhatsApp. It's always a pleasure to be with you. My guest in the studio, Fortune Alime, is an executive editor with Daily Guide, and Richard Abbey is an editor with the Business and Financial Times. Very pleased to have you, gentlemen, on Editors Forum.
A very good evening to you.
Right, so let's look at this issue, which has so many implications. You can talk of psychological, security, even political. You can talk of all the angles that there is. And I've been wondering how we got here. The Securities and Exchanges Commission, the Bank of Ghana, the Minerals Commission, we're told all of them have responsibilities. And over the week, people have been trying to explain how they've gone wrong in all of this. I mean, if you look at the Security Industries Act, Act 929, 2016, and if you look at the Banking and Deposits Act, Act 930, you will realize that it makes clear indications or procedures that these people should go through when they realize that people are operating illegally. And then you can also talk about the Companies Act 1963, Act 179, which states clearly, and in section 265, subsection 1B, and I read, a person shall not make invitation to the public to deposit money with a company for fixed deposit or payable at call, whether bearing or not bearing interest, unless the company concerned is a public company, unless the company concerned is a public company, and the appropriate provisions contained in this act are duly complied with. So it just goes straight forward to indicate that, I mean, this company didn't even have the right to take deposits. And the reason people have been justifying that these, even the Registrar General had a fault in all of this. To what extent, and I'll start with you, Richard Abbey, to what extent would you say this whole thing is a systemic failure?
Well, you know, this thing started, well, I first heard about Men's Bank, as it was called, about three years ago in one of the numerous radio adverts. And later on, what I heard was Menzgold. I quite didn't understand what was happening then. Then it clicked that I knew about the Bank of Ghana, their struggles. Normally, they don't like people, when you're not a bank, to have any form of a bank, whether with a C or a K in your name. So when they metamorphosed into Menzgold, and I got to know, then it started clicking on me. But then again, this was a company that was already public, and they were advertising fully, and people seemed to welcome them wherever they go and all those things. So it never, for me, it never clicked that what they were doing was kind of strange. But be that as it may, they continued their operations for 5 years till last year, when people started raising questions. So I also had to go and look at their model, their models operandi, and what they were doing. I had problems with what they were doing, but then I was also thinking that the powers that be, the regulator, that's the Bank of Ghana, the banking sector regulator, that's the Bank of Ghana, and then also later on the Securities and Exchange Commission, I was thinking that they would have stepped in, but they didn't. I think somewhere 2017, somewhere November 2017.
Even in 2014, we had the opportunity to stop this whole thing, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, so when the Bank of Ghana started issuing that kind of, let me say, a disclaimer, then people started thinking twice, but not the investors, as I would say. But what I would have expected when this whole thing started, we have several regulators when it comes to the financial sector. We have several regulators, so I would be expecting them to collaborate more. So if you have the Bank of Ghana and you think that what they are doing should have come within your remit, but it is not, and you think that somebody else licenses them, there's a need for you to also engage the other regulators. I mean, in this case, SEC, and also PMMC, the precious minerals and the PMMC.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that there will be that kind of collaboration. The Bank of Ghana, in this case, was more active, I would say,
all the others.
Than all the
you could even tell that
so
this comes under the umbrella of
yes. So I would have loved, when the whole thing started, the Bank of Ghana or the other regulators would have put their heads together and stop this. Look, if we had stopped this thing 3 years ago or 2 years ago, probably the damage wouldn't have been this massive.
Definitely.
Well, you can't, for me, I would say the regulators fell short.
Okay.
They fell short because if, let's say, somebody is operating an illegal company, or let's say it's a quack clinic, I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect the Ghana
Medical
Association to be issued disclaimer.
Yeah.
First of all, I would want them to take steps to close it down because
we've seen such things happening
exactly.
in recent times.
I know this example, this analogy may be far-fetched.
Even under SEC, section 123 of 929 is specific on what SEC should do when it comes to companies operating illegally under their umbrella. So, I mean, it kind of baffles a lot of people how they just sat down or sat back and watched all of this happen.
Well, for me, like I said, this analogy may be far-fetched, but I was thinking that we needed heavy-handedness on the part of the regulators. Clearly, they were taking deposits. No two ways about it.
Which was wrong.
Which was
in
wrong.
The first place.
They should have gone through the Bank of Ghana if they wanted to take deposits.
Right.
But then they claim it was not deposits. And then later on it became derivatives, and then it means they had to go through the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it became a murkier situation. And mind you, in all of the Ponzi schemes that have taken place elsewhere in the world, most of the time, they seem to ride on some gaps within the regulatory frameworks. So if we knew this thing from the beginning, that look, what these guys were doing, there were a lot of red flags. They were giving interest rates which were not sustainable, and assuming they were even dealing in gold. Gold is an international commodity, and we know the price of gold. So clearly, somebody could have seen that, look, where these guys were going, there's a lot of dangers involved, and so they should have moved earlier than they did. But we are here now, and I would say, for me, we need to know, as a country, we need to know how these people were able to operate for this long, and why we are not in a position to hold people who were paying with taxpayers' monies accountable. Do you get it? So we need to put whatever has gone wrong. Yes, it's already gone wrong.
It's gone bad.
It's gone bad.
But
yes,
we need
but we
to
need
know,
to understand
we
the
need
situation.
to know where we
need
went
to
wrong to be able to
exactly.
do better
We need to
in
learn.
future.
We need to learn from our mistakes, and we cannot learn if people think that because they moved in after 5 years they've done their work. No, it's not enough. People have already suffered losses, and it's easy to say the people that took part were greedy. It's very easy to say that. But then they've lost their monies. The least we can do for them is to understand what went wrong and to punish people.
Okay.
Starting from the regulator,
exactly,
right down to the management of Menzgold and the MD, Nana Pia Mensah. We need to have a holistic investigation into what went wrong, and so we can bring people to book.
And of course, it's just simple how we've just reneged on our duties. And I want to go back to Act 719, which is the Companies Act 1963. If you look at subsection 3, it says, where an invitation to the public is made in breach of subsection 1, which I read earlier, the person making the invitation and an officer of a body corporate making the invitation who is in default is liable on conviction, A, in the case of the body corporate, to a fine not exceeding 1,000 penalty units, and in other case to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years, or both. So even in the Companies Act, it's even clearly defined what should happen, and that's why people are justifying that even before the Securities and Exchange Commission came in, BOG and all of that came in, even the Registrar General should have activated this act, this section of the act. So let me go to Fortune Alimi on this, and I want to find out your appreciation of the turn of events.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that we had a regulatory failure. It was a complete regulatory failure. Because in the first instance, if Bank of Ghana can issue a warning statement asking the public not to transact business with Menzgold, which means you have a role to play there.
Right.
So why are you issuing warning
public notices
without acting?
Right.
It's a complete failure. Exchange Commission.
Security and Exchange Commission, yeah.
SEC also issue statements warning the public of dealing with Menzgold.
Right.
And the same thing, you also have a mandate, regulating mandate. So on that basis, it's a complete failure on the part of the regulators.
Right.
Completely. So at the end of the day, who do we blame? Even though Menzgold initially said they were not taking deposit, but clearly they were taking deposit. Because in Bank of Ghana's own investigation, they did mystery shopping, meaning they were transacting business with Menzgold to see how they were doing it. So when they go, they ask them go and pay money to Brew, whatever.
Brew Consult.
Brew Consult.
Yeah.
That's where you buy your good.
Raw Italian.
You know. So at the end of the day, if you had done your own investigation and it has come out to show that really the people are actually taking deposits in the name of buying goods, because as Abi said, we all know the prices of good in the international market. So how do you offer them tantalizing, what do you call it, profit, 10% or 7 to 10% interest on your deposit? It's not sustainable for a month, not a quarter, for a month. So calculate it times 12.
Sometimes
And I've heard some financial analysts say even if somebody gives you 5% or let's say even 10% a month as an interest, you should be suspicious of that financial.
But I wouldn't call it greed. But at the end of the day, that is the bottom line.
Because it's a mixed bag.
Of course, at the end of the day, you want to reap where you have not sown. So what is the outcome?
Right.
The outcome is that the guy has scammed you. He's not flying all over the place. You are here crying. Government should come to your rescue. How is government coming? I mean, there's no way government can come in, because at the end of the day, even though Bank of Ghana failed to act, the fact that they warn you that don't put your money there because it's not a registered entity.
Okay.
And Bank of Ghana has said that do business with registered entities.
Okay.
But in this case, it's not a registered entity.
But
so
issuing public notices to the public.
You should alert the public.
Is it enough? And that's why I want to find out. In all of this, we're blaming systemic failure, all right. But did the customers also have a responsibility? Don't forget that in a developing country like ours, where every day you wake up and there are new financial products on the market and it's being slapped at you, an individual or a business may want to take advantage of those products. And also looking at our financial literacy level, which is very low, whose responsibility it is, or was it, to educate the people on how to make intelligent investments? Because I even heard Amanda Clinton, who is lawyer for one of the customers, say that they made unintelligent investment. I don't know whether we have anything like that in that field. But whose business or whose responsibility was it to educate the people to understand what kind of financial decisions to take when it comes to such investments?
Do you know that at a point in time, the so-called Menzgold customer stage demonstration protecting Menzgold?
Okay.
Are you aware?
Yes, at a point.
They were saying that it's a legitimate business. Let the guy continue.
I
know the government can, I mean, the regulators can, even though it's a regulatory failure, the regulators cannot also come in just to slap or close them down.
This could be for one reason, because they've allowed this gentleman to operate for such a long time. And what they did, and I heard people say they were robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Precisely.
So what they did was that people who were bringing in their monies, they were using those money to pay those who were already there. And those people will go out and do word of mouth testimony and say, okay, it's good, I've gotten my money, so you must also come. I mean, that's how the Ponzi schemes operate. If you follow the trend, I mean, the history, you know that that's how Ponzi schemes operate. But whose business was it to protect the people from getting into this mess?
At the time when SEC stepped in, as Menzgold, stop taking federal deposits. Pay the people you've taken money from them, or the so-called good investors. Pay them off. Then let's come and talk. That was the
And I also heard them saying that they shouldn't also take in new customers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So you see, when SEC came in that way, what Menzgold said was, okay, fine, we're not going to do new business. And then they came up with a schedule to pay off those whose interests have, whose monies have matured, blah, 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 blah. Dividends and whatever it is. And what did they do? They reneged on their promise. Because at a point, once you break the flow, there was no new money coming from anywhere to pay off those whose investments have matured. So it's a very big problem. And I think that a lot of, you were asking whose responsibility. Yeah. There's a whole lot of responsibility on the part of the consumer, the regulator, and the government, if I should say so. Okay. The customer, because I have my money, and I heard somebody who had invested more than 10 million Ghana cedis, one individual.
I'm aware.
Yes, more than 10 million cedis. So for such a person, it becomes very difficult. Look, nobody can make 10 million cedis in this country, and you tell me that person is not financially literate. Do you get it? So sometimes there are people who genuinely may not know. But when you have people who begin to take monies or loans to go and invest,
if you say that somebody can make nobody can make 10 million and say he's not financially literate, you want me to believe you?
No, but
there are people out there in the informal sector.
I'm just saying 10 million. It's
and
very
you
difficult.
Invest it in a Ponzi scheme.
It's very difficult.
They may not know.
No, you see, it's very difficult for
when
you to
the
make 10 million
alarm bell has been sounded.
Exactly.
When? After 5 years? After 5 years? That's when the alarm bell was found.
No, let me tell you.
From 2015.
Right from 2015.
Go and check
from 2015, they had operated how many years already?
Just 2
like
years.
2 years. 2 years is not just. And at that time, they had already built a certain clientele, and those people were giving testimonies. It would be difficult for people to actually realize that this is a Ponzi scheme, or I mean, what we're doing is not right.
But you know, one of the greatest Ponzi schemes in this world, I think the greatest, Madoff.
Yes.
Do you know when it started?
We did for 20 years.
More than 20 years.
Okay.
He did decades of Ponzi scheme, and it was only until 2008. Look at the knowledge of the U.S. regulatory framework, the entire regulatory system.
Was able to evade.
And he was able to evade for this long until he was busted somewhere around 2008. So it tells you that, look, these people are able to kind of fly under the radar for quite a long time. And for people who have made money, you also have a certain degree of responsibility, because an investment is a risk you are taking. Yes. The higher the returns, the higher the risk. So if you choose to go higher the risk, it means that you can lose more all of your money. Okay. So we should take all these things. I mean,
so what was the responsibility of the customer?
The customer needs to know, look, I'm going to invest into this business. I need to first of all understand, I'm going to buy gold. Where are you going to trade the gold? How much is gold selling? There are basic questions you need to understand. And secondly, you're going to sign a contract. If I have 10 million cedis and I'm going to invest into a company, how much will my lawyer charge me? I have to go and give this contract to my lawyer. And have you heard about the contract they signed and how some of the laws are not applicable here in Ghana?
Exactly. And the fact that they are even paid on counter. Their dividends are not sent through any bank. It's just a counter payment. That was what
so if
one of the agreements
if you have, I'm not saying that this kind of situation is applicable to everyone, but I'm just saying for people who have invested 1 million, 2 million, and I mean sometimes you need to take that responsibility on your shoulders and say, look, I'm going to invest this money. How much would it take you to hire a lawyer to go through a contract for you? You can't just go and be signing any contract just like that. At least you would have seen some red flags that would have advised you that, look, you're not supposed to do this. But hey, people have seen monies. In Ghana, it's very difficult to even have a 40% an investment, a genuine investment tool or whatever it is, that will give you even 35% return per annum. So people have seen 10% per month, and they think that it's, but sometimes they say, when something is too good to be true, then it is too good to be true.
So the customers also should have taken some responsibility.
You see, we are going to blame the regulators and then the customers as well.
Fortune, what percentage of blame how would you share the blame to the regulators and the customers?
Well, much as it's a regulatory failure, the customers should also take the larger chunk of the blame, because the regulator put out alerts warning them that, look, these people, I don't trust them. go to the banks. How much is TB rate? TB rate is between 12 to 14%. If they are giving you, let's say, fixed deposit, how much is fixed deposit? For someone to promise you 7 to 10% a month.
So issuing public notices was enough?
Of course. They are letting you. They are letting you. If you have, as you're saying, someone has put 10 million Ghana cedis
into this
worth of investment.
That's
how much are you expecting? You're expecting 20 million within 1 year.
Yeah.
That's a risk, a price you have to pay.
So you're
it's a big risk. It's a very big risk because that one, you could have gone to any bank and buy TB. Just have some 14% interest and just move on with your cash. Now you've lost your interest, you've lost your main, your principal. Who do you blame? You blame the regulator or you blame Menzgold. And Menzgold scammed them. And it was, you know, the guy played on them, used testimonial from these celebrities.
Exactly the point.
The celebrities and, you know, but you should also ask yourself, what business is this guy doing to start doling out cash?
But would you doubt a person who has, let's say, relationship with even all the big guys in town? We've seen him with pictures with the president, with Otumfuo and the chief imam, all the big guys around. Would you doubt such a person? Because you would think that if the person wasn't a genuine person, I mean, all these people wouldn't have associated themselves
That is
with
why
him.
you need to evaluate your situation. You need to evaluate the kind of business you want to enter.
But that won't be fair to the ordinary Ghanaian on the streets who, and you know the illiteracy rate in this country. It won't be fair for you to say.
You want to earn where you have not sown. That's what you say. Robbing Peter to pay. The guy is taking money from you and give it from Peter to Paul. At the end of the day, when Bank of Ghana asked them to stop, where is the money? He started playing on them. Oh, we are migrating them to online trading. Online good collectibles and so forth. At the end of the day, the guy took off.
No, but Aisha, one thing we have to take note in Ghana is that visibility can never be equated with profitability. The fact that somebody is doing business and the person is all over, everywhere in the news, doesn't mean the person is running a very profitable business. That's one thing we have to take note of. And it's something that it seems that we as a people, or most of these victims, have not taken note of. And they think that once somebody is into business and the person is advertising, the person is running a very profitable business. And that's what Menzgold did. First of all, after coming out with Menzgold, and they came up with Xylophone Media, Xylophone Ads, Xylophone this, Xylophone that, and they were all over the place. DKM did the same thing. DKM Microfinance, DKM Transport, DKM Farms, DKM this, DKM that. And people thought that once they have all these visibility means that their business is profitable. But mind you, in the midst of all this profitability, the danger we are talking about here is that where is the man getting the money from to do all this business? Look, if you go and invest into a property, if you go and invest, let's say, a 2 or 3 story, and even you are renting, do you know how long it will take you to even recoup your investment? So once you begin to do business with a company and the man behind it begin to invest all over, it's a sure case of a big red flag that you have to be very, very much aware of. So the man goes to do Xylophone and was signing people on. Did you for once ask yourself, so this man, where is he getting the money from? Is it not deposit that he's trying to use to create a name for himself or for his company? Because honestly, I never heard of Nana Pia Mensah until he began Menzgold. So I should be very worried if all of a sudden someone comes up and the person is behind a scheme like Menzgold and the person becomes very rich and is doing exploits. Well, I have to be very wary of such a person. I'm not saying it could be fraudulent or it is fraudulent in all the cases, but I'm just saying that those are petty flags that people should be mindful of. So you don't go and put your money at a company where the owner all of a sudden is renting a private jet.
And when in some cases, they even put all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And then also, I think that what people should also know, when it comes to investment, if you're going to invest, if you go to any serious company or investment bank you want to invest, there are certain things they take you to. So you need to be aware of what you are doing. You don't just go there and say, okay, I'm going to sell my house to go and buy T-bills. First of all, the person over there would sit you down and judge
so
your risk appetite.
You think they did unintelligent investment?
No, I'm just saying that because their business was not regulated, a lot of these things pass under. Because in a serious company, in a serious investment bank, some of even the advisors will talk to you. They want to judge your risk appetite and they want to understand why you want to do this. And I doubt people will go and take a loan and go and buy tables because it wouldn't make sense.
So, but, you know, the difference between DKM and Menzgold is quite huge.
Right.
Meaning that DKM, if DKM has taken your money, mind you, if I take deposit from you, DKM was working with provisional answer, don't forget.
Okay.
Meaning that they've made some level of attempt to regulate their operations by going to Bank of Ghana to register. So they were working with provisional license. They were taking deposits. They were reinvesting the deposits, meaning that it will bring returns.
Okay.
If DKM has established, let's say, DKM Farms, DKM Cement, whatever distribution company, obviously they will bring return, DKM Transport. But in the case of Menzgold, Menzgold was taking money. Xylophone, what is Xylophone bringing? No. Signing on artists.
No, but Mr. Alimi,
you do get it.
Even in the case
he was using the endorsement
to get more people
to
come and invest.
No, but Mr.
to
Alimi,
placate the public that I have a good business. And all these people are affiliated to my establishment.
Right.
So if you have followers, for instance, if Shatawale's followers, Shatawale, some people see him as their teen god.
Yeah.
And Shatawale followers.
So you pull one celebrity and you pull a whole
it's like, and they themselves will say, okay, part of the money they've gotten, they will invest part of the money.
But let me make this quick point. The issue about DKM is similar to Menzgold. Because when you take people's monies, you don't tell them you're going to put it in DKM Transport. And in any case, DKM Transport, you've taken monies that you're supposed to pay interest on it every month. Yeah. And mind you, this is not a normal interest you're talking about. We're talking about 5 to 6, 7% interest per month. Yeah. So what kind of business are you going to do? DKM Transport, DKM Farms, that you're going to get people's monies and even pay them over 100% per annum. Right. Do you get it? So once people take, some of these companies take monies and they begin to divert it into related companies, there's a problem. Okay. Look at some of these banks that were collapsed. Almost all of them had this related party lending. And that's a very dangerous thing to do once you begin to play with people's monies. Because if you're going to lend money to a related company, it means that you are not going to follow the process. You're not going to follow the due diligence and all those things.
My interest is the fact that in all of these, government is still insisting it does not owe the people any compensation.
Yes. Since I think the point needs to be made over and over again that when, as far back as 2014, the regulatory agencies, namely the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission, noticed that the practices of this organization were similar to deposits or asset-taking institutions. They did two things. They issued an alert that they suspect that they are taking deposits or assets, and that persons should not take deposits or assets there. At that time, the customers of these organizations said no, they were not taking deposits and assets there, and that they were giving this organization money. This was a trading organization that they were giving money to purchase a commodity, hold that commodity, sell that commodity, and then repay the amount that they had deposited or made available to them, plus a share of the profit to them. The Bank of Ghana at that time, therefore, did not have the legal power to do anything because customers and the company had both explained trading and not deposit taking. I am very sure that if any one of them had, honestly told the Bank of Ghana that indeed this company was taking their deposits, the Bank of Ghana would be seized with the material fact to intervene. Bank of Ghana gave those alerts, commenced their own investigation, but as you heard the Deputy Governor say on your own platform, there was no transparency. They could not see into it. And the people in the contractors, in the customers in the company, kept giving the answers to the Bank of Ghana that it was a trading transaction. Today, the people involved in the contract are now saying that, yes, they gave money to this company to buy gold, but they are neither getting their gold nor their money. And therefore, they've made reports that they have been defrauded by false pretenses.
Okay.
And it becomes a matter that the security agencies therefore now have to take up and take through the investigative processes and get resolution to. I noticed that some persons are saying that the Bank of Ghana should repay their monies to them. And the Bank of Ghana has explained that to the extent that this is not an institution licensed by the Bank of Ghana, unlike, for example, in the case of DKM or even in the case of some of the banks that have had challenges, because they were registered under Act 930, the Bank of Ghana could repay their monies to them. Okay. In this instance, the law does not allow the Bank of Ghana to do that. And I think the customers have taken the appropriate legal route by reporting to the security agencies, who have therefore proceeded to trigger an alert to find the person and to commence an investigation on what has happened with these transactions that they contracted to do.
And that was Kojo Nkrumah, Information Minister, explaining why government doesn't owe the customers any compensation. And this posture of government has received mixed reactions from the public. One, why would government take such a posture? Because when the DKM issue, for instance, broke, we saw some level of sympathy from government. And government actually taking steps to help retrieve some monies for customers. Why is the case different? And two, the taxpayer is already burdened. Already we're told 2 billion cedis from the pensions fund is going into bailing out the Ghana Amalgamated Trust and many other things the taxpayer has had to endure. I've heard people describe the investors as greedy and careless because they saw it written on the wall but refused to see, and just so on. But just maybe, Fortune, which of these two school of thoughts do you belong to? That one, they should sympathize with the people, and they cannot say that they are not compensating them, because we saw a similar thing where government stepped in, and then another school says, no, you can't touch the taxpayer because the taxpayer is already burdened.
I don't want my money to be given to any victim of scammers. The DKM, as I explained earlier, is different. The DKM had provisional license from Bank of Ghana, different from this. There were notices, alerts, as far back as 2015. Don't do business. Bank of Ghana did mystery shopping, buying gold from and realizing that the people are just scammers, defrauding them. Warning that don't do business with these guys. So on what basis do you want my money to be used to bail them out? Okay. I don't want my money to be given to them because there were enough notices. Unlike DKM was under the lenses of the regulator, Bank of Ghana. So Bank of Ghana slipped, then the people also worked in. In all, we may blame the Bank of Ghana for most of these things, including the failed banks, because I think the Banking Supervision Division of Bank of Ghana, they are not active. Okay. They slept on the job. So in the case of Menzgold, the customer should bear the brunt. They should carry their own cross. I don't want my money to be used for them.
But don't also forget that there's been warnings that there could be psychological implications, there could be even economic implications in all of this, because, for instance, a psychologist has said that the customers of Menzgold, if not giving some counseling and all of that, a lot of them will go through depression. And many of them are also in the public sector, in the private sector. If they go through depression, that it means that productivity is going to be affected. And if productivity is affected, it means our human resources is going down. And that will turn around and affect the economy.
So when you counsel
there's also security implications. So in all of these, what should government do?
Well, I think it's a bitter pill to swallow. And for me, I never support the idea that government should step in. What government can at best do? Who are the people behind Menzgold? What are their assets? Go after them and make sure you gain as much as possible from them so you can at least settle some people. Look at the 2019 budget. Government is already cash strapped. domestic revenue is a challenge. For the past 2 years or so, we are not able to raise enough monies to even fund our expenditure. Where is government going to get extra monies to go and pay people who took a high risk and the whole thing backfired? What we can do for them as a government or as a people, what we can do for them is to make sure we go after NAM1, go after the management of Menzgold, all the properties and all the assets they have. Make sure you get as much as you can, liquidate them, and you begin to sort out the customers. For me, I don't think that there's enough money to even prosecute government's agenda, much more talk about giving free monies to people who have done trial luck with their monies.
So do you think that these customers are chasing the wind? Because I've heard some risk analysts say that.
You see, where they are now, where the customers are, they will do anything. Because if you have lost monies, it's like a drowning man. You clutch onto anything, whether it's a straw or it's a rope. I mean, you are drowning. What does it take to think that government can pay you? So they are hopeful, and they are not losing sight of the fact that they made some wrong investment, but they can't just let it go. It's like we have 5 stages of grief. First of all, there will be denial, then there will be aggression, and I think that right now they are hopeful, but soon reality may set in that look, there's no way government is going to step in, and government may have made a mistake in the past of setting a bad precedent that of the DKM, because DKM, had it not been made a political issue, nobody should have been sorted out for the DKM issue, because it's the same thing. If somebody had a provisional license, they were not supposed to be operating in the first place. Okay. So we should be putting the blame squarely at the doorstep of the Bank of Ghana, because if you give somebody a provisional license, you should have enough check and balances to ensure that whatever the license comes with, they are complying. So if they didn't do it, we should be holding them accountable. But I mean, it was made a political issue, and that's how government had to step in. And thankfully,
it's the same thing in this situation.
Government is trying to, even kill the snake before it even grows. Because if you make it a political issue, it means that you'll be compelled. That's how government had issued a disclaimer earlier enough that, look, we are not going to pay anybody whatever money they have invested, because it's your business which has gone wrong. It's gone bad. So
you're on your own.
People need to wake up and smell the coffee.
Okay, I don't want my money, to be used in paying these people. At least some of them enjoyed it for so many years before it got to this. Unfortunately, some of them didn't even get a dime after they invested, then this whole thing happened. Better luck next time. But I'm also worried about the fact that if you look at the young people among the 1.8 people who are looking for NAM1 to take their monies.
I do 1.8.
And well,
it cannot be 1.8 million.
Okay, but obviously it's a huge number. And if you look at the young people among these people who even make up the working force, and you look at some of the social vices that can happen after all of this. If people go into prostitution, we are here, we're spending so much money treating HIV/AIDS and all of that. If some people get up and start robbing people, it's a concern for the country. If people are having depression and they are dying, is a problem for the country. So I am worried about those social vices that will go around and affect the economy. What would you recommend that government does in this situation?
They should look for NAM1.
They should look for NAM1.
Yes.
Okay.
Which they have activated.
Okay, so just so maybe that could be a panacea to our problem, and it means that we should look for NAM1. How do we get NAM1? Already, a warrant has been issued, and it's welcoming. But public confidence in the police has dwindled in the last few years. But then, well, the CID is still optimistic.
Investigating this case for some time now. Now we are aware that Nana Piamenta is not in Ghana. So we have started the process of letting Interpol put him in the red notice. And one of the documents that we need to add is warrant of arrest from a court of competent jurisdiction, which we have already done. We have obtained the warrant, and now we have initiated a process. Interpol will look at the reasons why we are saying the person is a fugitive, and then they will inform all the member states to be on the lookout, arrest and then extradite the person to Ghana. So we have started that process.
Okay, so we're told you just mentioned about a court warrant. We've just seen that's a bench warrant for arrest of all Menzgold directors. Is it just number one that this court warrant is for, or all the other Menzgold directors? And when did we get this bench warrant?
No, there's a difference between a bench warrant and a warrant of arrest. A bench warrant is where the person is already before court, and then maybe he's been granted bail by a court, and the person has jumped bail. That is when you go for bench warrant. But this is a warrant of arrest. We haven't taken him to court yet. I'm aware of that arrest, but that arrest was not done by the police. So if the arrest was not done by the police, he couldn't have jumped bail from us. Rather, we are looking for him. We are looking for him, and it is only number one that we are looking for. We have already obtained warrant of arrest for 2 other directors. We have started the investigations, and we have gone to a certain level. You see, when you are doing investigation, maybe from our strategies, you don't start by arresting. You need to arm yourself with enough information so that when the person appears before you, you can ask the right questions. So we started this investigation somewhere in December, and we have gone to a level where it is now we are ready for arrest. That is why when we got to know that number one is not in the country, we initiated the processes of informing Interpol so that the 194 member states will help us to arrest him. So any information that we have, example, the possible location, address, telephone number, we have to provide all the information to Interpol, and they will inform the other member states to be on the lookout for the person, and then they will assist us in arresting that person.
But if we've been looking for number one, at least from what we've been saying so far, how did he get out of the country without the CID or the authorities getting to know about it?
That would be very difficult to say because from our records, from the record that we have, we were of the opinion that he was in the country. It was when we realized, we tried to locate him, that we realized he's actually out of the country. How he got out would be very difficult for me to comment.
There was no record of him leaving the country, at least through the airport, from what we've checked? I
am yet to confirm that, that when he left the country and through which exit point that he left.
But when was this alert issued to the Interpol, for instance?
The alert issue, we started the initial processes. You give them the information why you think Interpol should come and assist you. And then that one has been accepted that we have reasonable justification for declaring the person as a fugitive. Then you back that with a warrant of arrest issued by a court of competent jurisdiction, which you have also added to it.
Okay. But why exactly are we looking for number one?
I think this is something that you already know. Whenever somebody does something that is contrary to the law, then the police will have to come in. That is, crime. When somebody has committed a crime, then we have to come in and investigate possible arrest and then prosecution. Currently, I'm unable to tell exactly what are the charges that we'll be preferring against him. That is why I said we'll be investigating. But apart from the predicate offense that he would have committed, we'll also be looking at money laundering and also be tracing assets. So these are some of the things that we'll be looking. So there are possible offenses which I cannot mention that this is the one that we are looking at. But as and when we finish our investigation, we'll be able to come out with the exact offenses that he has committed. I'm 100% sure that we'll be able to do that, especially when you get the Interpol involved. So within the whole world, there's nowhere that he can run to. No, once you get Interpol involved, there's nothing like influencing anybody because the processes there are such that once he's located, definitely you'll be brought back. How you need to extradite? He himself will have to come back. Because when you go through that process, he might not even like to go through that. And once he gets to know that he's been declared a wanted person, he himself will walk to Ghana and then will continue with the process.
So as he stands now, is he a wanted man?
Yes.
So Nana Appiah Mensah is a wanted man, and you just heard that from DCOP Mami Tiwa explaining that they are 100% sure to get him. But people are still wondering where he is at this point. His friend Bulldog advised him during the week to come around because he has a good case. And his PRO has been speaking. We'll get to his PRO's issue. But Richard, what would be your expectation? Because when we went on the Interpol website, we know that that has been activated 194 countries, and they're looking for him all over the place. We checked it's been about 5 days since that arrest warrant was issued and Interpol alert, but we checked and we didn't see his name there. Where we've had some explanations, because we know that communication between Ghana police and Interpol in any other country shouldn't take more than 48 hours. But explanation we're getting that for security reasons, they could be doing their own investigations and decide not to put his name there for now. So we are believing that. But what would be your expectation after this warrant, 194 people, countries looking for him, his account since frozen? What would be your expectation?
For me, I think that it's quite obvious that whatever happened, it wasn't just #1 who was behind it. Yes, he's the frontliner, he's the big fish, but clearly, as management, I mean, as a company, he had a management team that he was working with. So by now, we should be looking at everyone who took part in it. Yes, #1 is a figurehead, but what about those people who were management members, management team members? They may not have played a party to it, though, but somehow they also have a question to answer, because where a company goes depends largely on the management team as well. And if we find ourselves in this kind of situation, we should also look at the people, the management team of Menzgold. We should be looking at bringing everybody. It's not now that we go and find #1 and when he mentions name, oh, this guy is also out of the country, let's go and look for him. But now we should round up everybody who played a role. And for me, I don't even see this as a concerted effort. It's like now we are moving in a way, we are moving in a manner because people are agitating, so let's look for #1 because he's a figurehead. But now we should have a holistic view of what went wrong. Who are we looking for? Yes, we are looking for #1, but apart from #1, who were its associates? Because people, when they do some of these things, what they tend to do most of the time is to shift some of the properties to close friends and associates. So at the end of the day, even when you get them and jail them, you may not find any assets in their name. But by now, we should have a holistic view of all the people who operated with #1, and we'll be looking for all of them. Let's not just look for #1 now, and when we find #1, then
he's with two other ladies, we're told, Benedicta and Rose. They are the two other people that
Rose is the wife.
Yeah,
Rose is the wife.
And the other one,
they are looking for the wife because yes, they are looking for the wife because they think that once they find the wife, they will find him. But then there's no guarantee. They could have gone their separate ways.
I think she actually also played. She played a part in the. I hear she has a position in Menzgold. So yeah.
Oh, I think she's a shareholder.
Okay, so
yeah. So
when a company goes down, or if a company defaults, you look for the shareholders first.
Yeah. Before
the management. For me, you have a mean to work.
Yeah.
It's the shareholder who should be responsible for anything that goes wrong. It's not me. You don't come for me. Yeah. Because the directors or the manager, they are all over the place.
Yeah.
But the PR manager has been talking.
And he gives an indication that he knows where Nana Pierre Mensah is, because the last time we spoke with him, he said they've heard from him, that he hasn't abandoned him.
I think
I'm wondering why the CID has not invited him yet.
They should invite the PRO. But I think about 2-3 weeks ago, a supposed letter from some of the workers, concerned staff of Menzgold, where they came to indict some of the management team members. All these may not be true, but somehow it's instructive. The sort of things they said about the management team members and the fact that some were misappropriating funds and all, those things are very instructive, and we should not leave anybody, we should not let anybody off the hook, because now we should be looking for as much as money as we can from all these people, people who have profited from places they've not sold. We should be looking for all those people, whatever asset they acquired through funds from Menzgold, and seek to liquidate them and get it for the customers of Menzgold. Because if we don't do that, trust me, government has no money to go and settle these customers. Last time, the lawyer for the customers mentioned a conservative figure of about $200 million. That's a lot of money. Look, this government, they don't have that kind of...
Talking about 1 billion.
1 billion. They don't have that kind of money to go and give it freely to people who, lost it in that kind of gamble. No.
Okay. It was a big gamble.
It was a big gamble, but there are also people who feel that, okay, so the warrant has been issued. We're looking for Nana Appiah Mensah. In the event that we get Nana Appiah Mensah, what would happen to him? And people are not hopeful that even when they get him, the money will come, because they feel they're just using, for instance, Mr. Nyantechi's issue as an example. I don't know why that should be a caveat, but I've heard many people say that, look at what happened. They'll just bring him in and they will say they don't have enough evidence to prosecute him, and an only protocol will be filed, and that's the end of the case.
Let's get him first.
No,
let's get him and ask him, where is the deposit? You said you traded in gold. You traded the money with gold. Let them, because some of the victims are saying that where you told us that you are using our money to purchase gold, to sell the gold for us. Okay, we don't want the gold. Bring our gold. Give it our gold. We are going to look for market for our gold. Okay. You get it? So let him come. Let him answer the queries. And from there, we can move from there.
You know what I see happening? Over the next few weeks or so, there will be, let's say, an audit of the books of Menzgold, to know exactly how much money they have taken from the public. So we know the extent of what we are talking about here. And there are a lot of these big audit firms around. I expect one of them to be given that kind of mandate. So at least that forms a basis. Because we can't be chasing, people are mentioning all sort of, banding all sort of figures around, and you don't even know how much we are talking about. We should be speaking. How many customers? 1.8 million, 60,000. No, we should be speaking specifics now.
Quantify.
And then we should know.
That's only when the people at Menzgold cooperate.
No, I can tell you that Menzgold, they are closing on Menzgold very soon. That I know.
It won't happen.
Oh, they are arresting very soon.
No, really.
Even I have reports that someone is suggesting that he's already in the cooler. Okay, not in Ghana.
It's a hint.
Yes.
But you remember that the case at the Accra High Court was thrown out recently, and for me, it should even tell the people that they're aware of what they're doing, because if you look at the Banking Act, for instance, I think Section 140 or something, it just shows what should be done if there is some challenges or if there is dispute between them. Court is not one of them. They're supposed to go through arbitration. And so why they run quickly to the court is...
It's not good I went to court.
And I'm saying that, why, so that should have given the indication they were buying time. I think I want to believe that. Because I don't know why they run to the court, you know, when you know that there are rules to this game and they didn't follow that rule. But certainly, we're hopeful that he's okay. So you say he's already in the cooler.
I believe so.
That it will be great to have him, because he will explain to all the customers, and at least some people will have some peace of mind. But if it doesn't happen, then there will be a problem. Let's listen to the PRO who has a different view. And I haven't listened to the PRO. I'm just confused whether the customers will get their money or not.
Operated for 5 years. We paid extra value consistently for 5 years. We have challenges this last year and this year. Does it mean that because we are having challenges, then we are a Ponzi scheme?
And it looks like the company facing challenges, then all of a sudden your CEO has abandoned you. Is that not the case?
What do you mean the CEO has abandoned us? Did you say that he has abandoned us, or have you heard any management member say that our CEO has abandoned us?
So at least, so you've heard from him then?
No, you are saying that he's abandoned, and he has not.
He has not. So you've heard from your CEO in recent times, at least this year.
All CEOs of
he's traveled. He's traveled to where?
He has traveled.
Where is he traveled to?
Yes, what?
Where is he traveled to?
He has traveled outside the shores of Ghana, and it is working to make sure that he gets money to come and pay our customers.
He's traveled outside the shores. I'm listening.
Is the money here? Can we get the money here?
You should tell me. Your customers want to know. He hasn't abandoned you. We've heard from some celebrities, those that he signed, for instance. Even the security operatives in this country are looking for him. And we haven't heard any word from him, and you say he hasn't abandoned the company.
No,
He's just traveled to work. So when will he be back? When will he be back?
The bench warrant has been issued, isn't it? Right? A bench warrant has been issued.
Is a warrant? Yeah, is a warrant that has been issued.
The warrant has been issued.
Because they couldn't find him. That's why they've issued the warrant.
The reason why they issued the warrant was because, according to the police, they need him to answer certain questions. So the police will do its work. So let's allow the police to work.
So that was Ni Amatefio, who is PRO of Menzgold. And he says Nana Pia Mensah is working. He's traveled outside the shores of Ghana to work and come and pay the customers. And I'm wondering if he's actually going to work to pay the customers.
To do what work?
It means that I think it would take him like 10 years to get money.
What's 10 years?
Or
what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's a lot of money. So, Fortune, having listened to the PRO, do you still believe that customers will get?
There's no hope.
No, but you see,
there's no hope in the sense that, look, if they had the money, he won't be running around. There's no hope. Looking at the magnitude of the customers they are talking about, 1.8 million, even though we cannot authenticate it. 1.8 million. Let's say everybody has 1,000. Calculate 1,000 by 1.8 million. Look at the amount.
Yeah.
And some of them, I know someone who has invested 35, 30. One person, 30. Another person, very high profile individual, 30, 5. Say, and I asked, Madam, but what happened?
But we heard that before he left, he paid all those big guys off before he left.
Who are the big guys? Big guys like what?
No,
but he was just saying that someone had invested 10 million, and the person has not gotten the money.
Yeah. No, you see,
so look there were some.
Let him land.
I'm sure you may even have those who have invested more than 10 million.
Oh yes, yes.
Some strangely, they will go for bank loan.
I mean, there was a gentleman here who had invested 400 million. Okay, no, 400,000. That's fine.
Some will go for bank loan because the interest there is a bit low. Then use the same money, invest it at Menzgold at higher interest. It's a big risk you gamble, and you have to pay the price.
Okay.
It's a price you have to pay. I don't have to pay for you. Okay. So from what he's saying, I'm not too sure. If the guy is just going to work in Abrochiri and come back and pay, how is he going to? Which work is he going to do? Which work is he going to do? What type of work?
And you see, per our laws, when you are even bringing money, you shouldn't even tell us where you got the money from. What source did you get the money from? So you can't say he's going to work and bring the money to come and pay. Ghana is not a jungle where people go and work and when they get 200 million, they can ship it here and no questions asked. No, it doesn't work that way because we have anti-money laundries and all, the Anti-Money Laundry Act and all those things. So we should be mindful of the sort of things we say. For the PRO, I think that he's doing his job, but really, I don't envy him in any way. Clearly, people have jumped ship, and I don't know why he's still holding on. Even the captain of the ship has abandoned the ship.
Yes.
And once a captain abandons the ship, it means that, look, everybody is doomed.
Yeah.
So if the captain has abandoned the ship and you are
here, and he says
then you are trying to hold
the captain hasn't abandoned them.
But you know,
where's the captain?
No, PR job anywhere is not an exciting job.
It's not an exciting job.
You just need to clean up someone's mess.
I am surprised that he's still walking freely. This is a man we're looking for, and this is somebody who says, I'm always in touch with him, and he's still walking freely.
Yes, I think they need to call him.
By now, they should have even called him before.
They should invite him and tell,
whatever it is.
Because when the last time you spoke to the man, at which location?
Yeah.
Because people are saying Nigeria, South Africa.
Right. Yeah.
I have believed that it's none of these two countries.
Maybe he may just be throwing us off.
It's a different country. So I'm not too sure it's Nigeria. They should extend the telescope to elsewhere.
And
that's why I'm saying that I have a strong feeling that the guy will be brought in.
He'll be brought in
soon.
Okay, this is a hint. So, yeah, you heard it first here. He'll be brought in very soon. So keep your fingers crossed. But I feel that because we are all now confused whether customers will get their money or not, it's the reason why probably Professor Frimpong Manson thinks that government must apologize for failing to protect Menzgold customers.
To me, we are now doing firefighting or reactionary method. And we need people who should have been proactive, who should have seen what was going to happen. The fact that they were warning, we have a statement in Cree, say akwada ni mo janu kusuma, wonka sa akwada mi ko yi ni nsa firi januma obesu. Ube yi na firi janu wonko twa me janu anko hye no. So this Menzgold thing was like a fire burning, and this what has happened today was going to happen. And people have tolerated this to happen, and it is sad. I'm not saying that they can take the money from the government because they knew that the deal was bad from the beginning. Those who are complaining are not talking about when they were getting the 10% every month. Where were they sending this money? We're not even paying tax on these monies. You know, it is sad. I feel for them as a pastor. It shouldn't have happened. Yes, the government doesn't owe anybody a cedi, but the government cannot accept the blame for watching for this thing to happen.
Do you agree government should not spend or do anything to help the people?
Oh yeah, this country, you see, when we were even thinking about the National Cathedral,
yes,
people were crying. We don't have schools, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this, and why should we go and use money for this? And what about such a deliberate thing? And see how much government is already spending on the banks and other things, and we want government to come in. To me, if people, because if you do these things, if the government comes in, we give more rooms for such occurrences to happen ever now and then. The guy should be arrested, like what he said. His assets should be seized, and whatever we can retrieve from the assets or those who have collaborated, we take it and share it for those who have invested. To have a penny is better than none. But why do we just allow this guy who was throwing money away? Warren Buffett will not do this. Bill Gates will not do this. I mean, it was sheer madness and stupidity. And we allowed this guy to do this in this town. And now we want the government who want to fix other problems to pay this money. As for that, it's no-go area.
Really?
But that doesn't mean that they should not accept the blame and apologize to government for failing, not only this government, previous governments, because they did not come to power.
Government should apologize.
Government, those who were there when it started and nurtured the person, and the one who is here now, who is there now, and this thing has collapsed in their watch, they should apologize to the Ghanaian people for failing to do that which they are supposed to do. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean they are responsible to pay the monies, but they cannot say, because we warn you. That is in Ghana. That it's only in Ghana. It can't happen anywhere. We warn you.
So Professor Frimpong Manson there, and he doesn't understand why government should say, we warned you. Is it the case of a father abandoning his child because he warned the child not to do something and he found himself in trouble? I want to agree with Professor Frimpong Manson that government needs to apologize to the people for reneging on its duties to protect the customers.
Would that be enough to assuage the customers? I'm sorry for not protecting you. So that is it.
It can assuage their anger.
You see, what they need is their monies, not any apology. Look, if I have invested 600,000 cedis, I don't need your apology. Just give me my money. And
but remember, he didn't give the money to government.
Yeah, exactly. So what government needs to do is to make sure you get get all the management or whoever was close to Menzgold, and get the asset. Go after the asset. All asset they probably have gotten from Menzgold.
Unfortunately, many of them are rented apartments and all of that.
No, but somehow you will still get some assets.
As for money, I'm sure they can.
Bank accounts here and there. Look, the longer it takes, the more people are able to do some of these transfers.
Okay.
And if people who relatively may not have been very close to the team, but somehow they may have gotten some funds, they can move the monies without much difficulty.
Yeah.
Somebody maybe was the girlfriend or the wife of a management member. I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
And all those people may not necessarily raise eyebrows, and they can do some transactions. And the longer we take to bring the people to book, the easier for them to transfer all these monies. And when we want to go after the money, there'll be none.
Okay.
So I think that we should move in. Government, apology or not, we all know government, the regulators didn't do their work well as they should have done. But apologizing alone or giving them an apology is not enough. What they need right now is number one, and the whereabouts of their funds. That's all that matters.
Exactly. And if the CID, for instance, I've seen somebody who can give a tip of where Apia Mensa is, and the person is just walking about freely, it shows how, I mean, I've lost a little confidence on that this guy will be gotten as soon as possible. But I'm taking you for your words that he's already in the cooler, and I'm expecting that maybe
that's information we picked up.
From tomorrow going, we would see Namwan coming already. His friend
in another related gold transaction.
Oh, okay.
So outside Ghana.
Okay.
And I'm sure very soon, because also someone also presented Namwan to Yoko, and the report from Yoko is saying that the person has promised to bring him within the next few days.
Within the next few days.
So either the arrest, or because the person also has his integrity at stake.
The person has his integrity at stake.
Yes.
Because if he's a reliable source, right? If it doesn't happen, then yeah, his integrity is at stake. But it's a case of you can run, but you can't hide. That's what I want to feel right now.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure they will get him somewhere.
They'll get him somewhere.
Yes.
And I think that alone will do a lot to help the customers, you know, come back home. Because as I speak with you, I've seen a woman, I was told about a woman who's already at the mental hospital because she has a lot of money in there, she just cannot take this news. So yes, getting Nana Apia Mensah to explain to customers where their money is will do a lot. Let's take a break on Editors Forum. We're back with more.